Aha! Okay, what is up, everyone? Darkside Phil here, and welcome to my first of several videos that I'm going to be making regarding E3 2014, recapping the different press conferences and giving you my personal takes on everything that was shown at these press conferences. So, just like last year, the way this is going to work is I'm going to go through line by line everything that I saw in each conference, and I'll comment on what I think about it, okay? So let's get started with Microsoft. They actually kicked off E3 2014 earlier today. They were the very first ones to hold their press conference. And first of all, the big thing this year, okay, at least for Microsoft, and it was funny because Phil Spencer, who's the new head of Microsoft Gaming, that's right, all those assholes who everyone hated after last year's E3, they're all out. They all left Microsoft. There's like 3 or 4 bigwigs of Microsoft that literally were just left the company, which I believe that they were kicked out, but whatever. They're gone, and we got a new head of gaming, Phil Spencer, okay? So, Phil Spencer literally comes out and starts the show saying, ladies and gentlemen, we are directly responding to your feedback from last year, and this year, it's all about the games. And I have to say this, in that respect, Microsoft stuck to their word. Their entire press conference was about games coming to the Xbox One. And you have to say, okay, you know what? Gee, maybe if you idiots had done that last year, then maybe that would have been a good E3. Instead, you focused on TV, on blah, 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 media. But again, remember, last year, the Xbox One had a much different focus than it does this year. Last year, it was literally all about that stuff. They wanted to push this new hardware down your throat and didn't emphasize games at all. This year, what a complete 180 after all the negative backlash that Microsoft has gotten from E3 last year and from all the gamers who reacted and basically didn't buy the Xbox One. Okay, so let's talk about what he actually talked about. First game they talk about, of course, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Everyone's grown. Oh, it's Call of Duty again. So the first thing that they announced, as usual, which this is a practice I don't agree with, but Microsoft will get all the DLCs for Advanced Warfare first, just like they have always done with the Xbox 360. Now Xbox One also, over PS4, will be getting the DLCs early, okay? So they show some gameplay of it, and it's a lot different. I'll be honest, it's different because now they're really going for something out there. Because they realize, I think, the same formula every year isn't working anymore. Immediately, they start showing futuristic gun types with these weird sight things that, like, they're nothing like anything you would use today. They're just really odd looking. Guys are chucking grenades, but the grenades are homing grenades that are locking onto their enemies and you know, like a homing kill. That's really weird. They actually showed some kind of a drone swarm, which I don't know what the fuck that was. A drone swarm, I guess, is a perk or something, comes out and starts attacking. So there's going to be some wild, wild stuff in Advanced Warfare, and I could see it doing one of two things. Either, number one, being so different that people like it, that, wow, finally a nice change to the Call of Duty series, this is what it needed. But I can see the flip side, too. I can see the people who've been playing Call of Duty these past few years since Modern Warfare, what, 2? Saying, nah, it's too different now. They changed it too much. It's, you know what I mean? And, you know, they were looking for the same experience every year. That's why they buy the same fucking game every year and play the hell out of the multiplayer all year. And now they're going on to something different. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I can see a double-edged sword. I'm sure a lot of people here are also going to say, oh, cry foul. That's what are they trying to be, Halo with Advanced Warfare? You know they're going to have super jumping. They'll probably have some kind of shields or something. And I'm sure people are going to draw that comparison as well. For me, let me say this. At least they're trying something different. It doesn't mean it's going to work, but at least they're trying something different, right? Unless instead of just doing the same shit every year, at least it's an attempt at something original. Alright, so that's Call of Duty. Next up, they showed Forza Horizon 2. And I'm going to be honest, whenever these driving simulator games, I lose interest. Forza, I had Forza on PS4, or was it? No, on Xbox. And I don't even know what I had it for anymore. I barely played it. I know, I played it a couple times. I didn't even fucking play the game. So Forza, yeah, Forza's coming out. Forza Horizon 2. Oh, there'll be this, there'll be that. I've lost interest. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I didn't write down too many details because I really don't care about Forza at this point. I mean, it's Forza. You know what Forza is, right? Okay. Evolve. Now, this is an interesting one. Evolve is, if you guys don't know, it's from the makers of Left 4 Dead. And the guys from Left 4 Dead haven't done anything in years, right? And so they've been working on this unique game where it's basically going to be a team of humans who are hunting down some kind of a giant monster that has special abilities and movesets similar to, say, in Left 4 Dead. Remember when you were the tank or the boomer, you'd have different abilities? Well, this monsters will have these different abilities, and it's interesting because it's going to be a team of people against one person in these really, you know, tropical but lush environments and stuff, and it seems to me it's something new. Like, you haven't seen something like this before. And I don't know how it's going to turn out. I think it could have potential to be a huge success, or if it doesn't really make sense to a lot of people, it doesn't catch on, it could be a failure. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this, but at least we're seeing the guys from Left 4 Dead come back, which is great, because we haven't seen this team work on anything in a while, and Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 were really great games, in my opinion. So they showed some gameplay. It looks interesting. I'm going to reserve my judgment, because I want to wait till the game is like a better build, and when it's actually coming out and it has a solid release date, and we know everything about it, then I'll get more hype for it. But at least it's good to see those guys again. All right, the next one was very interesting. The next one that Microsoft showed was Assassin's Creed Unity. All right, this is the new Assassin's Creed game this year. It was leaked earlier this year. It's going to be held in the French Revolution, coming out this fall. The unique thing about Assassin's Creed Unity, 4-player co-op. Yeah, for the very first time, there's going to be online co-op in the game. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if they clarified this. Is it 4-player co-op in a real campaign with a story? Or is it going to be similarly to how with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, they had those missions where it was like, oh, the 4 of you are trying to do things together within a time limit? I don't know. But from what they showed, the gameplay was pretty crazy. I think one of the major distinctions that they showed here is that in previous Assassin's Creed, it's always like, wow, you know, your character, whoever, whether it was Ezio or Connor or whoever, is hunting down this target a lot of the time. It takes them a while to get through the city and sneak past guards and finally get to the target you're trying to kill. In this, it was like non-stop kill, 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 kill. The 4 guys are like going around and just assassinating targets left and right. And again, maybe that's a multiplayer mode that's only multiplayer. It's not story-driven. I don't know. But at least it did look very interesting. The graphics looked sweet. Like, just looking at them run through France looked amazing. And I got kind of a tingle up my spine. It looked and felt kind of like Ezio running through Italy. And I think maybe that's what the series has been missing for the past few years, is that they had these departures. They went to America, and then they went off into the, you know, the ocean for the last episode. Maybe what they need to do is go back to Europe, you know, that older time period, and maybe, you know, that will get the feelings back that you're back in the original series. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But it looks good to me. It looks interesting to me. And what I'm hoping for, at least, is that the negativity that came from Assassin's Creed 3, you know, because Assassin's Creed 4 actually sold more than Assassin's Creed 3. Maybe we'll see that the series is getting its boost back. I remember a lot of negative, Assassin's Creed 4, I'm skipping it because, you know, it's the same shit. Hopefully this will give it maybe some more reinvigoration, okay? I don't know if it will or not. But, okay. Up next, this was good. Dragon Age Inquisition finally gets a release date. Yes, I'm pumped for that. October 7th. By the way, this is looking, from all the news we're getting at E3, this October may be the most loaded game month in history. And I'm not exaggerating. So many games, October, October, October. Wow. This is going to be crazy, okay? But anyway, Dragon Age Inquisition looks good. It's a new cast of characters. I actually took more notes in the EA press conference than I did during the Microsoft press conference in regards to the game, so I'll talk more about it when I do my EA recap later. But the game looks great. It looks like it's going to have an integration of play styles. It's hard to tell. They did show gameplay, but it's hard to tell whether it's going to be more of the strategy-based, turn-based stuff that's more like you... Remember how in Dragon Age Origins, especially if you played it on PC, the game was more of a strategy game where you could like freeze time and plan out your things from almost a top-down perspective, but you couldn't do that on the console versions. And then Dragon Age 2 actually became more of a hack and slash. I don't know what this one's going to go for. What they have been showing is like area effect damage and stuff like that, but it looks good. I'm excited for it. We'll talk more specifically about the new characters when we get to the EA press conference later, because they actually fleshed that out more in that conference, okay? Okay. Sunset Overdrive. Now, we saw this last year. We haven't heard much about it since last year. They show more of it this year. It seems like a whimsical game almost like it's taking a jab at serious shooters. Apparently, there's some kind of you're in some kind of a post-apocalyptic world where people have become zombies because they drank some kind of a tainted energy drink. I know, it sounds silly, and the game looks very cartoony. I think it's one of those games that, like, some people will like it and others will be like, it's just like every other... The game that I'm drawing parallels to is, remember that Batman Arkham Imposters game from a few years ago? It may end up just being something like that, or, I don't know. It's hard to tell from the stuff they're showing you what the game is or if it's going to be serious or not. But they do mention there will be 8-player multiplayer, okay? 8 players, a lot of people, oh, only 8 players. Hey, it might work. And it is coming out on October 28th. Again, October, right? That's going to be the running theme, October, October, October. Now, this blew everyone away, and we're like, what the fuck when this happened, right? It's like Super Dead Rising 3 Ultra Hyper Super Turbo Edition is available now. And everyone was like, huh? That's right, a completely unannounced... no one had ever mentioned this. DLC for Dead Rising 3 is released right now on Xbox One. What it is, it adds a ton of, like, Capcom-related stuff to the game. They were showing off, like, Servbot heads and all kinds of stuff, Capcom-related. To which I say, why? Why, Capcom, why? Because you didn't tell anyone this was coming out. Your last DLC for the game was months ago. Who would have kept the game? I mean, seriously, the game's been out for what, 8, 9, or I say, okay, probably about 7 months now. If you've beaten the game, you got all the collectibles in the game, you played the 4 DLCs, why would you have kept the game? So for me, it's like a non-announcement because I don't have the game anymore, and I'm not going to go fucking buy it, right? So why on earth did they bother with this? I guarantee you they're not going to have very many people looking into this DLC because who the fuck kept this game? I don't know. It's very stupid. So, yeah. So they announced that. Big deal. Dance Central Spotlight. Apparently there's some new Dance Central game coming. I paid no attention because it's Connect related. I was like, whatever. Alright, Fable Legends. This looks interesting. Fable Legends. First of all, they announced that it actually completely runs on the Unreal 4 engine. And the only other game up to now that we've seen that ran on the Unreal 4 engine was Daylight, that downloadable kind of indie survival horror title that was put out for PS4 and PC, and it was a piece of crap. So hopefully this game utilizes the Unreal 4 engine much better. But some interesting stuff here. For the very first time in a Fable series, there's a villain that you can control that kind of is like the antagonist, while you know someone will be playing a hero. You could play the villain. There's going to be a top-down view mode where you can spawn enemies and stuff, basically controlling the universe where the hero is going through and trying to stop him. That seems interesting. So, and there's going to be a multiplayer beta for this game released in the fall where you can be either the hero or the villain. So very first time multiplayer in Fable. That could be interesting. And it is good to see Fable return with a serious game. If you remember, the last one was that stupid Fable game for Kinect that flopped hideously because no one fucking wanted to play a Kinect game. So it is good to see Fable back. What else? Up next, they showed Project Spark, which was a game they announced last year, and we haven't heard nothing about it since then. It's that game where you can kind of create your own world. It's not very clear exactly what the game is yet, but it's going to be some kind of a level creator kind of a deal. And one of the things that I think blew everyone away, Conker. Remember Conker from games like Conker's Bad Fur Day? We haven't heard from him since the 1990s. Well, they're bringing him back, and he's going to be in Project Spark. To what capacity, I have no idea, but I think it was neat that they at least showed that he's going to be in it. Maybe it's a way for them to get interest for the game since no one's talked about it for a year. I don't know. Another game called Ori and the Blind Forest. This one looks like it's going to be a 2D side-scroller. Very big parallels here to, say, Rayman Legends, okay? Looks almost like that game, but it's unclear. Is this going to be a hardcore platformer? Is it going to have other elements implemented in it, similar to that game Child of Light earlier this year, where it was like an RPG platformer hybrid? Wasn't very clear from what they showed, but it still looked beautiful. Like, the graphics of the game looked very nice. But as we know from a game like Child of Light, that does not make a whole game, and a lot of people, if there's not a hook there, I don't know if they're going to check it out. Alright. I would say by far out of everything at the Microsoft conference, what I'm going to talk about next was the biggest announcement, okay? Coming this fall, I don't know if they had a release date. I think they did, but... Oh, November 11th, ladies and gentlemen. The Halo Master Chief Collection. So, if you are a fan of Halo, if you're not, maybe you're not. Maybe you want to catch up on the Halo universe because you know Halo 5 is right around the corner. The Master Chief Collection is going to include Halo 1 through 4 on the Xbox One, okay? The way it's going to work is Halo 1 will be Halo Anniversary, which was released, if you remember, in HD a couple years back for Xbox 360. It's basically just being ported to Xbox One. Halo 3 and 4 are just basically their own counterparts, no real upgrades, but they'll run on the Xbox One. But the big announcement here is that Halo 2, which is actually a fan favorite, and a lot of people to this day say Halo 2 is their favorite one, is getting the same treatment that Halo Anniversary did a few years back. The game is completely being done from the ground up in HD. The multiplayer is being upgraded. So basically, it's becoming a modern game. They're taking Halo 2 and turning it into a modern game. And just like in Halo Anniversary, we're used to, on the fly, be able to go from original graphics to the newly redone graphics. You'll be able to do that with Halo 2. I don't know if they're calling it Anniversary, but the Halo 2 remake, you'll be able to do that as well. And they actually showed some of the cinematics redone in HD. I think this is a big deal. If you want my honest opinion, this is a big deal for me because Halo 2... Everyone, when it came out, everyone said, Phil, you gotta buy Halo 2. I did, but I didn't get it. Like, I wasn't into FPS games. I was into Street Fighter at the time. I played Halo 2 for a few times online. I never liked it, and I never played the campaign, and I got rid of it. This will be a chance for me to experience Halo 2, this game that people hold up in such high regard, for the first real time, giving it a fair shake. Now that I'm years later a much more well-rounded gamer, I'm excited to try out the campaign of Halo 2. I'm wondering if it's actually going to be co-op. We'll have to see, but sounds good to me, right? And then also they mentioned that there's going to be a beta for Halo 5 Guardians. Now, I don't know what that is. Is that a part of Halo 5? Is that not? Is that a spin-off of Halo 5? I don't know, but the beta is actually going to be included with this Master Chief Collection. So for me, here's the other thing, the last thing that they mentioned too, because I forgot to say this. All the multiplayer maps from every game are apparently, like, available. So every multiplayer you've ever wanted to play of Halo, you could play it again on the Xbox One. And I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people who buy this collection and are going to be playing their favorite. But some people, maybe Halo 3 was their favorite. Maybe Halo 4, maybe Halo 2. They're going to be playing those games on Xbox One. So you're going to have a ton of people playing Halo and all different versions of Halo come November. And that, you know what? Quite honestly, I think Halo needs it. Because Halo kind of has been deflated a little bit when you really think about it. You had Halo 4, which kind of was like, most people were like, Halo fanboys were nuts. And of course, mainstream gaming media, who gets paid off by Microsoft, they all rated it 10s out of 10. But everyone was kind of like, it's not bad, but it's also not great. It is what it is, I guess. You know, that was kind of the attitude a lot of people took. And I think Halo needs a real injection of adrenaline back into the series if people are really going to get hyped for Halo 5. And let's face it, if Halo 5 is going to be a system seller, people have to care about Halo again. So maybe this Master Chief Collection is the way to put that little bit of interest back into Halo. Okay? Okay, the next game coming out from Playdead. A lot of you might know about that game studio. It's called Inside. And it seems to be an interesting game, but it looks weird. I can't tell. At first, it looks like there's a kid trapped in his house. Then later on, it shows like people trapped inside of him. I don't know. It's very odd. And again, it seems to be one of these graphical 2D platformers. Like I remember before, I mentioned Ori and the Blind Forest. Only this one, it seems like more urban, not fantasy-based. But it's not clear what the game is. Is it a platformer? Is it going to be puzzles? What is it? When you show these cryptic trailers, you got to understand that people are going to be confused more than anything about these games. I don't know why they do that. All right, then Microsoft moved on and said, well, we're going to tout the fact that we are trying to get indie games, the game studios developing for Xbox One. And they say, oh, the new ID at Xbox, which is the program that they have for these indie game studios to make their games. And they basically show this huge, huge montage of indie games. And again, you show such a huge montage, it's hard to lock on to any one snippet and say, what is this game? What is this game? It's just difficult because they're showing such a wide variety of content during this montage that you don't know what anything really is. But they basically say they have over 100 gaming studios now developing indie titles for the Xbox One, to which I have to say great, because I'm going to be honest, right now PS4 by far is the leader with the indie games. They've got a lot more indie games on their console than Xbox One is getting. Yeah, Xbox has had a few console exclusives, but outside of those, there's really not much going on, so this may be the way for Xbox One to jump back into the scene. Let's be honest here also, I've been buying most cross-platform games for PS4 because graphically they're running better on PS4, so maybe indie games will be a reason for me to boot up my Xbox One again sometime soon. Okay. Some surprises. There were some surprises. The first one was the Rise of Tomb Raider. That's right. The Tomb Raider reboot from last year is now getting an official sequel. No actual word here on when it'll actually be coming out, but it is getting a sequel. That's a good thing. They show some Witcher 3 combat footage, and what they're really emphasizing in this footage is that there's a new gameplay element where when he's hunting, he'll be able, he'll be able to follow blood trails. So in this particular gameplay they're showing, he's trying to track a griffin, and he's trying to, you know, obviously he's going through the woods, he's fighting other stuff too, but he's following this blood trail through all this fauna and flora, and finally finds the griffin by following it, and has this big epic battle with the griffin. So that's cool. I can't wait to play Witcher 3 quite honestly. I actually did like Witcher 2 despite the fact that it was so difficult. And we'll see what happens. The game, the more I see of the game, the more I'm liking, and I hope that it keeps up impressing and that it lives up to the hype that it's building for itself. Okay. Phantom Dust. It was funny because the way they announced it, oh, Phantom Dust returns, and then they showed this cutscene or whatever from the game, and they're like, I don't even know what Phantom Dust is. I mean, that must have been during an era that I wasn't paying attention to games, because I don't even know what Phantom Dust is, and from the footage they showed, I still don't know what Phantom Dust is. So they could have done a better job there telling me what the hell Phantom Dust is supposed to be, but it is what it is. The Division. This was a big emphasis, actually, of the press conference, was The Division, and saying that the game is now all about co-op. It's a heavy co-op aspect, and just like last year, as hilarious as it was last year, they did it again, where they had a bunch of people on stage pretending to play the game, pretending like this was a co-op situation, when you could tell the game is all pre-rendered. It's not them actually playing the game live. And like a bunch of actors, they're talking, oh, check your corners, oh, you do this, do that, and they're all interacting. And it's hilarious because what they don't realize is that's not how it actually goes down online. What goes down is like one guy belches and everyone calls him a disgusting pig, and they talk about, gee, did you see what was on The Walking Dead last night and shit like that. That's really what the online gameplay sounds like. And of course, no profanity at all. When have you ever seen an online shooter with no profanity? There was not one word of profanity spoken. So obviously they're doing this G-rated simulation of what the game will look like. In my opinion, the game has potential, but it has to catch on. We've seen so many of these online co-op games where they don't do to them. Remember a few years back we had Brink, which, oh, it looked great. Oh, it's going to be online gameplay co-op. It's going to be amazing, and it flopped hideously. So if the Division can find a way to diversify itself, which it looks like it may be doing. It has smart glass interactivity. If someone has the Division app that can actually help you in your game and stuff like that, if it could find a way to make itself unique and diversify itself from the pack, I think it could do well, but I don't know. Right now, everything I'm seeing about the game, there's nothing that's like blowing me away. And looking at this versus what we saw last year, I'm still like, what did you do in that year? Because I'm not seeing anything that's like blowing me away in regard to this game. I could be completely wrong, but I'm just saying. Okay. Okay, up next, they actually showed Platinum Games' new exclusive game that will be exclusive to Xbox One. It's called Scalebound. And it shows this I think it was a chick, I don't know, with headphones on that looked like Beats headphones, right? But they didn't say Beats because they probably didn't want to pay for the marketing or to pay for the trademark or whatever it is, the likeness. But it's basically kind of a crazy, overblown fighter. She's fighting like giant monsters, right? I mean, I'm thinking, you know, parallels to Bayonetta, but I don't know because we didn't see too much. But it is cool to know that Platinum Games is up to something new, right? After, since Bayonetta 2 is going to be coming out soon for Wii U, it's good to see that they're up to something outside of that, and it is an Xbox One exclusive, which Xbox One really desperately needs right now. Okay? And of course, everyone is now yelling at me and saying that it's a dude. I don't know, because I was writing down notes, and I really don't remember the trailer too. I was writing down notes, boom, 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 and I wrote down, like, no, it's a dude fighting. Okay, fine, calm down. But what I mean is the big boss fights against giant monsters seemed like Bayonetta. I don't know. Okay. And then finally, the last real announcement in the Microsoft press conference was Crackdown, which hasn't been around for a while. In fact, if you remember, when Crackdown originally came out, the big selling point was that it came with the beta for another game. And so now they're rebooting, I guess, the Crackdown franchise. It's just called Crackdown. They didn't say like Crackdown 2 or whatever. You know what I mean? They just say Crackdown. I didn't play the original Crackdown. I didn't fall for the trick of buy the game to get the beta or the demo of another game. But it's good to know another Microsoft exclusive franchise that's coming back could be a big boon for the Xbox One. Now, the one thing that you maybe didn't see, because they didn't show it during the press conference, but I got wind of this while I was watching other stuff, is that Killer Instinct has their own new trailer. You want to check it out. Season 2, there is going to be a Season 2 for Killer Instinct, which is an Xbox One exclusive fighting game. And the trailer is showing... Ooh. Sorry, I got a text. So anyway, now I got distracted by a text. I'm sorry. Oh, Season 2 of Killer Instinct, and the character that's highlighted in this trailer is TJ Combo. Now, here's the thing, okay? And here's why I'm a little apprehensive about a Season 2 for Killer Instinct. If you remember correctly, Killer Instinct was made by a studio named Double Helix, okay? Double Helix worked from the ground up, working with people who worked on the original Killer Instinct, pro fighting game players, to make Killer Instinct as good as it could be and play like a professional level fighting game. I think they accomplished that, okay? The presentation, the graphics, the music, getting the announcer back, everything was amazing that they did with this game, and I really did like Killer Instinct this year, and I enjoyed playing it. But here's what happened, which a lot of people don't know. Double Helix was bought out, okay, by, I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Google? I think it was Google. Bought out Double Helix, and they basically took that team and said, we want you to design making a gaming console and like games exclusive for that console. So what ended up happening was that a lot of the people who were working on Killer Instinct were taken off the project and move over to work on something else. Now there was this big controversy. People were wondering, uh-oh, so if you're now bought out, right? Oh, it was Amazon, not Google. Thank you everyone in the stream chat, because I kind of brain fart there. It's Amazon. Amazon possibly making their own game console, okay? So now there was a big controversy. Uh-oh, so what's going to happen with Killer Instinct? Because we were promised a story mode coming up. We were promised other stuff coming up, and now are we ever going to get that? And the answer is, yes, we did get a response, and people said, no, don't worry, that's all coming still, because what they did is they still have a core team, all right, a core team of people who are working on this game. They didn't take them off the game or whatever. There's still a core team of people working on Killer Instinct, regardless of the fact that we got bought out. Don't worry, we have a team working still on Killer Instinct. We're in this for the long haul. I have to say, though, after seeing the trailer today, you judge for yourself. Watch the trailer of TJ Combo and tell me what you think. I think he looks awful. Like, it almost looks like they were going for the character model of the original TJ Combo from the original Killer Instinct. But he doesn't look good to me. Like, the characters from the first wave of Killer Instinct look way better graphically than he does. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll look different in the final product. He didn't really blow me away. You know, I was looking at him like, this doesn't scream high production value like the first group of fighters did. And then, of course, there was a tease at the end of this trailer of Cinder, because as TJ Combo beats up Fulgor, he goes, is this all that you have to offer me? There's this flame that like lights up behind him, and you realize, okay, it's probably going to be Cinder. Everyone's been asking for Cinder. Cinder was one of the most highest, most popular character, most highest rated and most popular characters in the original Killer Instinct game. And a lot of people were disappointed that he wasn't in it from the get-go. So they're definitely teasing that Cinder is going to be in this game, okay? So overall, that's the Microsoft press conference. That's the majority of what they covered, okay? I might have missed something a little bit here or there, but that's what it covered. So what are my feelings, okay? Overall, I have to say, out of everything that I saw at the press conference, I'd have to say Assassin's Creed Unity looks good. Definitely, I was hyped for the Halo Master Chief Collection just to get the redone Halo 2. I'll finally get to experience that because they did a really good job with the anniversary, and I'm very much looking forward to doing it with Halo 2 as well. And also, I would say, what was it? Rise of Tomb Raider is great news, right? Rise of Tomb Raider, we want to see a sequel because the reboot was so good. Witcher 3 is looking good. But honestly, was there anything during the entire press conference that was like, wow, we didn't know about this, and this is great news? And the answer is kind of like, meh. Like, okay, a sequel to Tomb Raider is great, but where were the big blockbuster, you had no idea this was coming, and here's what's coming next on Xbox One announcements? And I think most people are going to kind of sit there scratching their head saying, I don't know, like, where, wow. Besides the Master Chief Collection, okay, and besides maybe, okay, Crackdown's coming back, if you really liked Crackdown, or maybe if you were really blown away by this Scalebound game, like, what in this press conference did you see that says, I need to run out and buy an Xbox One today? And I think a lot of people are going to say nothing. And I think this is a problem because Microsoft, we're all about the games. That's nice, but where are the ones that are going to make us want to play them on Xbox One? Because let's face it, a lot of these titles, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Dragon Age, all the ones that they're really touting as the one, oh, the sequel to Tomb Raider, they're all cross-platform. And if we've already know that for whatever reason that these games are running better on PS4, what's going to happen here? Now, I do want to say one thing. Supposedly, there's a big thing going on at E3 right now. Microsoft is telling everyone that there's going to be this update to the Xbox One that's going to unlock the potential of the processor, and basically the Xbox One is going to be a more powerful console. To which I say, why the fuck didn't you do that when you sold it to us at launch so that the game developers could develop the games to run at 1080p and 60 frames per second instead of having to nerf them all, which is what they've had to do? Duh. I don't know. Pretty silly. But overall, I would probably grade the Microsoft press conference. For me, I'm going to give it like a C. You know, if we're grading on an A to F basis, it was kind of middle of the road. There was nothing that really made me say, wow, I'm so excited. But at the same time, there were a few things there that I was like, okay, this looks good. But besides that Halo collection, I don't know if there's anything on this press conference that's going to make me run out and buy the Xbox One. And Microsoft really needs to get those. You know, if they said Halo 5 is coming out, wow, okay, at least just something. No, it was more Halo collection, and not a real focus on Halo 5. So, it is what it is. I give it a C. You may think so differently, but that's my take on the Microsoft press conference, okay? So that is it. Now, I will be covering all the other press conferences as well. So if you're watching this on Twitch TV, check out my stream all day. I'll be streaming after every press conference. If you're watching this on YouTube here on DSPGaming, I will also be doing recaps of those press conferences with my opinions on them as well. So thanks, everyone, for the Microsoft recap. I'm DSP signing off, but I'll be back later with all the other conferences as well as later this week. Probably I'll have talking about individual games that piqued my interest at E3 as well. So thanks, and I'll see you for those later.